A story must hook the audience right from the start. This is not an easy task for any writer, whether it's film, books, or movies, but Expedition 33 nails an unforgettable beginning, getting its audience to cry in only 30 minutes into the prologue. How does Expedition 33 create such an impact right from the start? How does it get the audience so emotionally invested so quickly? Let's look at 4 things that they do right. First, they create a strong mood with the setting. The introduction to the world around the characters is as important as the characters themselves, since this environment has formed the characters into who they are now. When we meet Gustav, we can feel right away that something is a bit off, and we know it's not Gustav himself. The reason we know this is due to the way Mael interacts with him. Both of them seem uncomfortable in the place they are, and in turn, the audience starts to feel uneasy as well. Of course, the haunting number in the middle of the ocean helps. Right from the beginning, we're given the characters' conflict that is rooted in their setting. This will be important for the call to adventure that will happen at the later part of the beginning act. The character needs a reason to be forced out of the environment they're in, a reason to pursue a new environment, even though it is more dangerous and uncomfortable than the one they're in now. We can feel the call to adventure coming right from the start of Expedition 33. Gustav is about to meet an old flame under mysterious and uneasy circumstances. We can gather that the reason for this meeting is going to be tragic, not because of what is said, but because of what is withheld. No one wants to be direct about the problem at hand, and this increases not only the suspense, but fear. This is the second thing that Expedition 33 does well, revealing bits of information in a way that increases the emotional engagement. Since the player is not given any clear information, he sets out to find more and figure out what's happening in this world. Expedition 33 sets up this mystery well, not overloading the audience with confusion, but giving them just enough information to keep them curious. We can sense that the grammage is bad, but we don't know what it is or why it's bad. Even if we can guess it has something to do with death, we don't understand why it exists or what the conditions are. Now we're forced to go through further gameplay, NPC interaction, and environment exploration to find out. This in itself isn't going to make the audience cry, but it will determine how deep the audience gets pulled into the world. Without the proper suspension of disbelief, your audience is not going to be emotionally invested enough to cry. The NPCs in the City of Lumiere have an important purpose, especially in the beginning of the game as the player adjusts to the new world. The main character's interactions with the NPCs will not only show us Gustav's personality traits and his connection with the people around him, but it also shows us the culture of the place that Gustav lives, various arguments or viewpoints over current issues, or the degree of the devastation around them. Script writing here will need to be engaging, but not critical to the story's plot, as the player has the choice to skip over talking with the NPCs. There needs to be some kind of emotional or informational reward while talking to these non-playable characters, especially in the beginning where the player can easily walk away from the game. In Gustav's wanderings, we see how loved both he and Sophie are to the townspeople. You can hear it in their teetering hope as they try to act normal in a tragically dystopian world. This adds layers upon the mood, making it more emotionally complex and intriguing. More lighthearted games like Genshin Impact, Story of Seasons, or Legend of Zelda will show content citizens living their day-to-day lives, while darker games like Expedition 33 and Lies of P will show the devastation and destruction of their current world. We should either be pulled into the story world because we want to live there, or pulled into the world because we want to change it. The third thing Expedition 33 does to emotionally hook the audience is to showcase emotional connections between characters in a deep and tragic way. Human beings are relational creatures. It is pointless to argue otherwise. We are drawn to stories of relationships between people, whether it's romantic, parental, familial, communal, or even an internal relationship between the head and the heart. Romantic and parental relationships are the strongest of this group because these are the relationships that the audience can empathize with. All of us have felt love and desire, or heartbreak and pain. All of us have had some kind of relationship struggle with our parents or family members. With Gustav, we are introduced to his broken relationship with Sophie. After 4 years of not seeing one another, he's about to see her again only to watch her be erased from existence. This creates a scene not of bitterness or malice, but of tragic longing and regret for things left unsaid. The feelings of longing and regret will hook the audience because each member of the audience has had a similar situation, a secret longing for an old love, the loss of someone they weren't ready to lose, or the regret of not speaking from the heart until it was too late. This empathy for the characters drops the emotional guard of the audience. All the longing and regret they carry in their own subconscious now is separated from the audience members and lives within the characters on screen. The audience now doesn't have to look directly at their own pain, but instead can look at it through a distant lens. They don't even know they're looking at it. They think they're watching someone else's regret and longing, but in reality, they're feeling their own pasts. So when Gustav and Sophie can't resolve their own longing and regret, when things clearly weighing on their hearts never leave their chest and now it's too late, the hearts of the audience recalls their own longing and regret and suddenly hits deep in places the audience has long forgotten. This is how Expedition 33 makes the audience cry in only the first 30 minutes. Of course, there's something to be said about the production and performance. This is the fourth and one of the most important contributors of emotional impact. How deep would this hit if it were different music or no voice actors? If this was written as a book, would it have the audience so destroyed? Sound is an incredible tool for storytelling. Horror games withhold as much sound as possible. Cute casual games have bubbly music and sound effects. Story-driven games have epic orchestra scores. Music can make us cry without a stage. So it's important to point out that sound in a game, film, or TV show will also pull at the audience emotions in various ways. And there's a lot to be said about the voice acting. Voice acting has become a standard for a chunk of large-scale games, and it affects how the player connects with the game even when they're not playing. Players get attached to voices and their actors. Baldur's Gate 3 fans will know Neil Newbon as much as they know his character Asterion. Fans of Love in Deep Space collect multiple sound clips and indulge in 10-minute ASMR episodes just to hear more of their favorite characters' voices. Expedition 33 has a great cast of voice actors that really bring the script to its maximum potential, causing an even bigger emotional impact on the audience. For example, Sophie's calm and peaceful voice through the beginning of the game suddenly cracks as she's erased, showing the true emotions that she's been hiding all along. This would not hit the audience the same way if it was just text on screen. The scriptwriters would have to show this in another way, through different word choices maybe, but it would not have the same effect on the audience as that heartbreaking voice crack as Sophie says her last words. All these perfectly executed elements produce an emotional punch to the audience right from the beginning. Now, not only are we wiping away tears, but we're also resolved to continue the game and cure this tragic world of its curse. This prologue is truly a great masterclass in flawless beginnings, one that will hit the audience at its core and stay with them long after the story is finished. If you found this essay interesting or useful, hit the like button. And for more essays and analysis on characters, plots, and storytelling through games and fiction, make sure to hit the subscribe button below. What are some other games, books, or movies that have an unforgettable beginning? Tell us in the comments below.